Hello. It's time to go on a hunt for yarn. Oh boy, I feel overwhelmed. There is a lot more yarn than I thought. Okay, let's get started. Last episode I mentioned that my friend Jules from So Sweet Violet and I are going to be doing a year of Shop Your Stash. And this doesn't mean we can't buy anything. It just means that we want to go to our stash first and use the things that we already have before buying anything new. I'm not trying to put a lot of restrictions on it. It's just that I'm feeling inspired to lighten my life, lighten my load, enjoy what I have, and stop buying more problems. Every time I buy another thing, I'm buying a problem because I already have enough stuff. So I pulled every bit of yarn out that I could think of. Though I do know that I have an advent this year from a friend. I'm doing a swap with a friend, and I have my own business's advent. So I have those two things. But let's take a look around this, see what I've got, because I really thought, oh, I don't have that much. I know what I've got. Well, I think I was wrong. Okay, here's the big picture before we zone in. Let's see, I need to put this at regular size here. I've got the dog toys and things over there. Okay, right here, these are scraps. These are my scraps. I have little bits of fingering weight scraps that are under 10 grams. 10 grams or under. And then, wait, I have another one. I have more scraps. I gotta grab that. Okay, I got it. These are my scraps that are under 20 grams, and these are scraps that are between 20 grams up to a full skein. Like this is like 80 grams, but it's not a full skein. And I layer them all in here. These are the bigger ones, then the medium, then the small. And then those are all fingering weight. And then these are my DK weight scraps. And it started out in here, but that overflowed and I needed another bin. And I use my scraps all the time. And I'm also knitting all the time, so I'm creating more scraps, but I love them. Okay, then we have the mini skein section. This is how it began, was minis that were in here, and I thought, wow, that's a lot of minis. but it grew. I'm currently going through a November countdown box, a gratitude box from Yarnberry Yarns, and those are the rest of the days, 20 grams. So I have 8 more, I have 80 grams more. And then this was an advent from a friend, but I separated them all out into kind of colors that I thought I'm going to use these together. And this one I got as a gift for my birthday one year, and I thought it was so sweet that I didn't want to use it. And it's been years now, and it's time to use it. Just minis all over the place. 10 gram minis, 10 gram minis. These are all my Enchanted Nostalgia mini sets that I did 2 years ago or a year ago. I can't even remember. Time is crazy. Then what happens is I'll dye yarn and I'll make a mistake or whatever, but I really like it, so I keep it for myself. So I have all these 10 gram minis. Then I've got advents. This one, so beautiful, from my friend Margaret, that she dyed this one. And then this one is from Dandelion and Dogwood, another beauty. I was going to put these two together into a blanket and changed my mind, so I separated them back out. Another gorgeous advent from a friend. Another gorgeous advent from a friend. And parts of another advent from a friend that I have used some of. So those are the advents. Then we've got fingering weight yarn in different stages. Some that I've wound up already. I've already made a pair of socks with this, but it's enough to make another pair. I've got sock tubes. I've got different types of fingering weight yarn. And I tried to keep them in bags so that they stay safe. But I also put them together kind of by color palette, like purples, greens, or teals, greens and teals. And I've got corals and peaches. It's kind of crazy. It's a pile, and I'm afraid to touch anything because it's all going to come crumbling down or crashing down. This is lace weight. That's the only one that I have that's lace weight in here. No, I have some more lace weight. I've got some fingering weight over here. Okay, now we're into sport weight and then DK. And these are all wool, alpaca, silk, cashmere. These are all like the natural protein fibers. And then bulky. And then right here, I've got a whole bunch of yarn that we bought from a place called NPS, where they purchase, they acquire like things that were lost or damaged in shipping. But look, that means this wonderful company lost that shipment, and that made me feel really sad because I know how I would feel. But I'm glad to know that it's not gone. I mean, I would be glad to know. Okay, and then here we have acrylic, polyester, you know, that type of fibers. I showed these last time, blanket squares that I'm making for a service project. This is great for doll hair. I've made baby things with this. These are the best for making pom-poms. Here's one of the pom-poms. They make the best pom-poms. And then in the center are cotton yarns and mohair scraps, and then I've got a couple of full skeins of mohair. No, this one's Surrey. Hi, Luna. Hi, girl. Okay, she wants some attention too. I've got some hand-dyed, gorgeous cotton yarns. These are DK and worsted, and then these are sport and fingering weight. Okay, so after doing that, I'm not entirely sure how I want to move forward here. I had the idea that I was going to pull everything out so that I could see it, count it, weigh it, and record it. so that moving forward I kind of knew what I had, how much I had of everything. But honestly, I don't have the energy to go through every single one of these things. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to go through and pull out the yarns I know are going to go. And then I'm going to pull out some yarns to make a plan for using some, because that's the goal, is I want to use what I have because I cut them because I love them. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's go through that. Okay, here is what I pulled out that I am going to destash. This is yarn that my oldest daughter was using to knit a sweater and then changed her mind. This was years ago. She might still want to do it. This one's in a yellow bag, so it looks like a different color, but they're the same color. She might still want to do that, so I'll offer that to her. Then I have this yarn that also my husband purchased at NPS, as well as this yarn. And it is beautiful yarn. It is, let me look at it. Let me look at labels to see if I can tell what it is again. 70% silk, 30% yak, 50 grams, let's see, 145 meters for 50 grams. And there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of those. They're beautiful. I've had it for years and have never felt like, oh, I need to use that. Same thing with all of this yarn. This is linen, and I've always thought, oh, I'd love to make myself a linen summer top, but have I ever done it? No, I've had this for years. This is merino wool, DK. And then this yarn, I already mentioned, it's lovely, and there are 8 skeins, and I have a friend that wants this yarn, so I'm gonna send it to her. And then I have this yarn that's acrylic, or let's see, what is this? Let's see if I can find where it says what it's made of. Acrylic, nylon, and polyester, yeah. Okay, oh, I found more of these. More Kinross 4-ply. I put them all together, except for those. I need to put that in there. I love this yarn. You can tell, because I keep buying it. And I keep using it. Okay, I have this that I've already dyed for a project, and it's been sitting here, and I need to cast it on. This is a baby project, so I'm gonna set that one aside. And then let's come back. What else do I have? My knitting group is doing a sweater knit along, and we need 3, oh, here it is, 3 skeins of fingering weight yarn. And I have this yarn that I was given by my sister, Emily of Yarnberry Yarns, and I love it. And I've been looking for the perfect project for it, and now I found it. So that, plus this, for some color work. But here's where I'm going to have to acquire more yarn. I need mohair to hold with it, and I don't typically stash mohair. So I need to get some mohair to go with this, so I can use those skeins. But I'm happy that I have a plan for this and this. Okay, and then this is leftover from my grandson's dinosaur hooded cardigan that I just made for him. And so I'm going to use the leftovers for another baby project. So I have this yarn, and that yarn that I'm going to start with for the next projects. Yeah, I changed my mind. That's going back. It's too beautiful. I need to find a pattern for it. It's too beautiful. I need to keep that and use it. Okay, I think I've decided I'm hungry. I just need to get some lunch. And if I get some lunch and I eat some food, then I can come back and I can tackle this. What I want to do, I do want to know how much I have. I want to come and count it. Count full skeins, count mini skeins. Not sure what I'm going to do about this situation, like recording that. Because I use them all the time, so I should include it, but oh, that just seems overwhelming. We'll see how it goes as the day progresses. But I have knit night at my house tonight, so one way or another, this all has to be gone and put back. So if it doesn't get measured and weighed, it doesn't, but that's what I'd like to do. First things first, lunch. Okay, I just got back from lunch and it is such a beautiful, beautiful November day. The leaves are falling in my front yard. I just went out to look at all the trees and the leaves have at least half of them fallen in the last day. So it's just so pretty right now. Okay, now that I have eaten, I have a clearer mind and I'm ready to attack this. I wanted to get it done today because I'm going in to have some more things done on my mouth tomorrow, and I don't know what I'm going to look like, what I'm going to sound like, if I'm going to be able to chew and eat, if I'm going to be able to talk very well. So who knows? We'll just see what I can get done. Okay, I came in the other room to grab my scale so I can weigh things, but then look what I found. I have more yarn up there. All of this yarn is for my shop, not for me. So, but right up there I have more yarn. Okay, I got them here. Let's see what's inside. Several years ago, I was doing a Make 9 challenge and I decided to wrap them all up like gifts. And when I was ready to do the next one, I'd open it like a birthday present. Well, I obviously never finished because this is one of them. Yep. Here it is. I was going to make this hat. I've already made it before and I wanted to make it in different colors. The Rhine Rose hat by Kate Running. And this is my old-fashioned Horehound colorway and marshmallow. So I've got more yarn to add to it, but that's a project I already know what I'm gonna make. So that's good. And this one, this was my advent from 2023. Oh. I started winding the yarn because I started working on a design. I was designing a project, designing a shawl, and I had to keep starting and stopping and starting and stopping and, you know, starting it over again, and it wasn't working how I wanted, so I put it aside and I said I'll do it after the Christmas season, and I didn't get back to it, obviously, so I've got more yarn. Okay, I'm gonna go put this with the Advents, and I brought over a pile of yarn so I can sit down and get serious about this finally. Enough hemming and hawing. Let's get this done. Okay, let's see. Okay, I got all of this taken care of, weighed, plus what I had down here, plus all of the scraps. That was the one that was stressing me out. But I still have all of this yarn. These are my cotton yarns, some acrylic, and then dun dun dun, the mini skeins and advent calendars. These right here are my favorites. Those are my treasures. So that's what I'm going to have to finish up and do again tomorrow. Okay, I've grabbed my notes to see where I'm at so far. Now, when I started, did you have a guess as to how much yarn I would have? If so, you can put it in the comments. Before I started pulling anything out, I thought I have maybe around the equivalent of 200 skeins of yarn. And when I talk about a skein of yarn, I mean 100 grams, not 50. So I figured I might have around the equivalent of 200. So far, my fingering weight yarn, the DK worsted bulky weight yarn, the scraps that I measured, including the mohair scraps, I am at 18,099 grams, which is the equivalent of 181 skeins of yarn. So I'm going to have more than that for sure, more than the 200 that I estimated that I would have. But it's good to know what I've got and what I'm working with. And I feel like that is a lot of yarn, but it's also relative. It's a lot of yarn for me. So I'd like that number to be lower so that it will fit into the space that I have designated for the yarn. And right now it's spilling into every nook and cranny. So I know I've got some work ahead of me and I'm looking forward to it. But tomorrow I've got to weigh, measure all of that yarn, and then we'll go from there. All right, well, it is day 2 of this project. And yesterday, after getting all of the yarn out, working on tallying yarn up, having to haul it somewhere else during knit night, then pull it back out, it had me thinking a lot about my habits and how I consume or purchase and not consume. How I acquire things. A lot of the yarn that I've acquired with a plan in mind, such as this yarn. I have a specific bag I want to crochet with it. I haven't done it, but I had a plan. Over here I have my cotton yarns that I purchased for making amigurumi, and I would buy them in like multi-packs, like variety packs, so that it was a better price and I would get a variety of colors so that I would have things to choose from. So I knew what I wanted to make, but I still didn't have specifics in mind for that. But then a lot of the other yarn is yarn that I acquired because I think it's beautiful. It's beautiful, it's fun. And then some were gifts. Actually, a lot of things were gifts. I do swaps with friends, and so, you know, acquire yarn that way. And then there's others that I don't even know how they show up. They just magically appear somehow. But the majority of my yarn I acquire without a specific project in mind, and I don't immediately start it. So I think that that might be the case for many of you, that I'm not alone in that. But I'm realizing at this stage in my life, I'm realizing that life goes by really fast. And to not live the life I want every day is a waste of a day. Even if that day is not filled to the brim with, you know, the most magical experiences, it's cleaning my house, even if I'm not feeling well. And I'm, you know, like I still want to purposefully live each day. And so I feel like the way that I have been acquiring yarn no longer serves the way I want to live. So pulling everything out made me excited to use it, and it made me fall back in love with things and think, oh, why didn't I use this? And I know that a lot of it's because I have to make shop samples. So anytime I come out with new colorways, new collections, I'm putting my focus on that and not using the stash I already have. So this coming year, I don't know that I will be doing many shop samples. I won't include that in any of my totals because that is a separate thing. That's my business. This is my personal stash. So anyways, just with all that being said, I want to be mindful in the way that I am acquiring things in my life, and that I want to use the things that I already have. And it felt very gluttonous to me to see everything out, and I didn't like that feeling. So I'm not sad that I have any of the yarn. I think it's lovely, and I'm thankful that I have the ability to use it, that I've been given it, purchased it. You know, that's not something that just everybody can do, I recognize. So anyways, with that being said, I don't know that I really said much of anything, that I expressed what I was trying to express, but I need to finish tallying all of my yarn and then make a plan for starting to use it. And oftentimes when I see people do this, they seem to feel constrained by it, but I'm rather feeling freed by this project already. Like I'm fine. Recently I cleaned out I have a storage room, and I have a friend that came and helped me organize and clean that out. And going through the process was painful, and when I was done, I felt free. So I'm kind of feeling like that right now. Okay, I need to get started on all of my cotton yarns and all of my minis and advents. So I've got to get started on that. Now the minis are relatively simple. They are typically, all of these are 20 grams each. So all I have to do is count how many 20 grams I have. And there's 5 in each of these little bags. So I have 5 in each one. I just need to count how many bags, times that by 20 grams, and I will have that. But really, each one is 100 grams. So all I need to do is count 100 grams. One bag, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 grams in this bag right here. Same thing with my advents. Such a joy to use. This one, I have a plan in mind already. And won't that be beautiful? I'm so lucky. So, okay, here we go. Let's start tallying again. 20, 40, 60, 80. Okay, one advent, if it has 24 20-gram minis and a full skein, it's 580 grams. So I can just look at that and see, is that how many I have in each one? This one I think has 23. Let me see. No, she changed it last year. So it's another 580 grams. That's a lot of yarn in an advent, and that's why sometimes it's intimidating to use, because it's a lot of yarn. But I mean, sweaters can take a lot of yarn, so that's why I like to do like sweaters wherever possible, sweaters or cardigans, but they take a lot of time. Hence the reason I haven't done it in all of them. Oh my goodness, can you believe it? I did it. I tallied, I weighed all of my yarn. Okay, once again, that's not true. I have yarn currently in projects that I'm working on that I didn't count because I'm using it. And whatever I don't use that goes back into my stash, I'll tally that and add that in when that time comes. But are you ready for the grand reveal? I told you at the beginning, I estimated that I had maybe around 200 full, meaning 100 gram skeins. That's how my brain works. Some people tally it differently, but I'm going by 100 grams as a full skein, but I still have a tally of how many grams in my stash I have. It's still an average because full skeins sometimes have more than 100 grams, so I could have more than that. But I'm not going there. I was not weighing every single thing. Okay, let's go through this. Full skeins, fingering weight yarn, I had 7,136 grams. Full DK weight skeins, I had 6,505 grams. Scrap yarn, I had 4,146 grams. Mohair, which is including scraps, mostly scraps, 312 grams. Okay, then today I tallied up all of my advents and minis, which that came to 7,492 grams. My cotton yarn was 6,739 grams. And my acrylic and other yarns that I'm keeping it was 1,839 grams for a grand total of 34,169 grams. That's the equivalent of, rounding it to the nearest 100 grams, 342 full skeins. And I was estimating around 200. So it's a lot more than I thought. And that's a big reason why I wanted to do this, because it's easy when things are stashed away to think I have a certain amount. It's, you know, it's not that big of a deal. I don't have very much, or, oh, I have so much. And then I would weigh it and find out, oh, it's not as much as I thought. I just didn't know. So now I know. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to tally as I work on my projects just how much I've used. And if something comes in, I can add that in. But this was kickstarted by a couple of projects. I shared this on my last episode, my last video, where I made these 3 hats. And it's because I had 50 gram skeins of acrylic, like baby yarn, that I planned to make hats with. And then I realized there's just not enough babies in my life to justify making that many hats. And I was having a hard time finding where to donate them. And in the end, I decided I'm gonna hold 3 strands together to make a bulky weight and to make a full-size hat for gifts. And it was really fun to see those go really quickly. So it kind of kickstarted me wanting to start going through my stash. So then I made another project with scraps. I just pulled out scrap yarn and made this baby sweater. I need to trim the ends and add buttons. But I've made those things so far. And then I've cast on with this yarn that I showed yesterday, a baby sweater. So I've begun the process. I'm going to stash first wherever possible. And I have a list of projects that I want to work on. I already shared some of them yesterday, but some more that I want to work on. These are the things that I want to be working on next. I want to do a scalloped scarf that's a new pattern that my friend is designing, and she sent me the pattern, and it's a way I can use individual skeins and I can blend them together. And scrappy socks. I've pulled out some of my yarn scraps. I've got them in here. Those are always good gifts. I have a sock basket that I give as gifts, but I just let the recipient choose which one they want, and always the scrappy ones are chosen. Rarely do the other ones get chosen. So I love using scraps. So I've got some separated out to make some socks. And then I also have these that I had cranked on my sock tube, and this is the toe, like you'd close it up. And I never finished these because the gauge was too loose and it was just too big and too stretchy. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull directly from this and knit the same pair of socks just in a smaller circumference. So as I knit, I'll just pull right from it, knit from this onto the needles. So those are my three next pair of socks that I plan to make. And I've got the needles in here ready to go. So I am not a fast knitter or crocheter by any stretch of the imagination. So I have no illusions that I will use up large amounts of yarn quickly. But I have a plan of what I want to do so that I can just really enjoy what I have and be more aware of what I am bringing in. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see how things progress along. And if you want to join in, feel free. If you don't want to join in, no problem. You purchase the things you want to do. I purchase the things I want to purchase. I don't feel that there should be any negativity around that. But I think it's a good idea to take stock of what you have and to be really truthful and aware of what you really have. And if I were to start all over again, I would buy for the project as I make it. That's what I would do. But there's no moving backwards. There's only looking forward. So moving forward, that's how I'm working. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye. Oh my goodness. I missed these. Now I have to add that too.